Hello. A few days ago I sold the car that I said I was going to keep to pay off some debts. That was my Audi A6 C5 Avant diesel. I sold it to my friend called Johnny No Scoops, and I may have suggested somewhat that he did pull my pants down and give me a cheeky kick in the balls of a bit, because he did. Anyway, he didn't like that. No, I've had to say sorry. Now, Johnny may look quite small, quite thin, very well educated, very well spoken, very kind, but he's not someone to mess about with. No, he's got an evil side about him. And so he messaged me about this and said, right, and I'm in danger of going just a little bit too much off on a tangent, so I need to get back on track. Johnny messaged me and said that he really loves the car. In fact, that he likes it so much that he feels like he didn't pay enough money for it. And with that, he didn't offer any more money. No, instead, made another suggestion. He said, why don't I part X this car? Confused? He suggested he did a part exchange for his car. As his name suggests, he doesn't have a Subaru any longer, but he is known for Rover 75s and Mercedes 190Es and things like that. So if you're getting a bit confused by this video so far, don't worry. All is about to be revealed. Essentially, he has given me his old car as part X after we'd already done the deal, because he's like that, and because it was in his way, and he didn't want to annoy his neighbours. And here it is. It's an Audi A6 C6 Avant, just like the one I've got rid of. Well, it's not actually the same. It's not the same car. There are a few differences. The first one is the MOT is not anywhere near as long, and the second is that it's a bit older, and the third is that it's not a diesel, which means that the fuel economy is no longer an exciting game to play. But it is the very car that made me want an Audi in the first place. Something that's never happened before. Yeah, the big old Audi. Now, question, is the car any good? What should I do with it? Should I just try and flog it straight on? Or should it be the new temporary permanent family car? Well, Johnny has told me a few things that are wrong with it, and those things will need addressing. But other than that, is it good or is it not? One thing is for sure, it's not going to be very good on fuel. No, 2.4 V6 and four-wheel drive as well. We'll find out whether it's any good afterwards. It's not going to be any good. By the way, this isn't going to be a long, drawn-out video over weeks and weeks of the progress of this car. It's just really an introduction. And if I don't bung this video out, somebody's going to blow my cover anyway. Boaty, in case you're wondering. Yeah, because he's already seen it. In fact, he gave me a lift to go and collect it. Two reasons I genuinely like the A6 C6 Avant. The proper carpet is cleanable, no matter what you put in the back of there, a bit of vacuuming and it comes up really nicely. And the other one is, well, people keep saying, why don't you have a night in the caravan? That'd be an interesting challenge. I'd rather kip in the back of here. So, is this car as handsome as the blue one? That's the question. What do you think? I mean, the colour's great, isn't it? Well, an interesting colour. I can't remember what the colour actually is. And it drives quite nicely. And it's, well, the interior is all there. Unfortunately, there was a big rip in the carpet. That is very, very unfortunate indeed. The space in the back is obviously just as big. There's an interesting colour interior as well. In fact, similar colour to one of my favourite work t-shirts. Well, they all start off as just being t-shirts, and then I wear them for work, and then they become work t-shirts because they get dirty. Screen wash isn't working, so that's one thing to look at. Nice sound, it does sound nice. One of the reasons why this car is mine is because Johnny doesn't like the brakes on it, and that can be sorted out. Some clunking noises, apparently. I've not really heard any just yet, but I'm about to do. Probably. I don't mind the odd clunking noise as long as it's nothing really bad. Now what you're about to see is me picking this car up yesterday and talking about it on the way back, where I try to achieve some good miles per gallon out of a car that doesn't do good miles per gallon. Penis extension.
Range Rover Classic.
Seven o'clock in the evening. Driving home from a place called Hebden Bridge. Yeah, you know it. You've seen Hebden Bridge in my videos before, and that's because I've been here quite a lot. As you can see, I am in this particular car, which you've already seen, the Audi A6 Quattro Avant. Oh, what was that? It just did a beeping noise at me then. I think it's telling me that it's low on washer fluid. It's quite an alarming beep though. Now, this should be, for many people, well, this could be one of those drive homes that isn't going to be that nice. Because I am told by Johnny, this car has a few things that it needs dealing with. Such as brakes, such as airbags, such as ABS things and stuff like that. Johnny really likes the diesel A6, and he wasn't expecting to do, but he likes the power, he likes the torque, and he likes the brakes. Things that this 2.4 petrol apparently doesn't really have a great deal of. So, I mean, the thing is, I just get in the car and I just drive it, and if it stops, it stops. I'm not really too bothered about it having particularly sharp brakes or anything like that. Just try the brakes out. Yeah, they're not great actually. They're quite spongy, and there is a a warning indicator on the dashboard telling me that the brake pads are indeed low. Oh, but besides that, it drives along quite nicely. It feels kind of like the other one, really. This very car that made me think I'd actually quite like an Audi. Yeah, this one. When I test drove this car earlier this year, and I just thought, you know, this car suits me. Yeah, it does suit me. But what are the plans for this car, I hear you ask? Well, don't hear you ask, but I presume that one or two of you who are watching will be wondering, I wonder what the plans are for this car. Well, actually, my first impressions of it aren't really that bad. It seems to drive along quite smoothly. It's not particularly knocky or anything anywhere. Maybe the brakes aren't great, but I'm used to cars that don't have great brakes. The fuel economy is going to be horrendous, of course. Let's see what we're averaging. Well, according to that, 21 miles per gallon. Let's see if we can trick this into being really economical by resetting the button thing there. One thing is for sure, it doesn't have anywhere near that low down punch that the diesel has, that Johnny seems to be really keen on. The gear linkage is a bit baggy, and it is going to want, I should just, why don't I do a good cleanup of this car? Make it nice to start with the things I can do, and then think about other things I could do afterwards. This is the four-wheel drive version of the Audi, which makes it the Quattro. And I've been told that there's a bit of a differential issue. And if I put my foot down and trying to hear a bit of backlash, it really appears to be there. So far, I've managed nearly 26 miles per gallon. That's better than I was expecting, but then I did reset it and I'm on a nice, kind of smooth, relatively straight run. I don't want it to be, if this car could do that kind of mileage, it will match the Honda engined Rover 600, which would be better than I would be expecting. But it can't keep it up though. Just had to stop at the lights then and then set off again. And that's made the miles per gallon plummet below 25. Will they go back up again? If I could keep it if I could achieve 28 miles per gallon by the time I get home, I will be quite pleased by this car. I'll be impressed. However, how is that going to happen? That's the first time I've stopped and only got to 25. 25 or 24.8, 24.7. I had to slow down quite considerably then because some young chap in his Vauxhall Corsa was using up both sides of the road. Why? Because he's not a very good driver. Oh gosh, as soon as you go anywhere near the accelerator pedal, that number just drops quite drastically. What's that? But now, on a longer sweeping road where the highest speed can be achieved, and it's going back up again. It's not going to get to 28, no way. 24.9, 25, 25.1. 25.1. That's probably about as good as it's going to get. Ooh, 27, and I've still got a slope to go. I mean, it's cheating, isn't it? I can't possibly be excited about the car doing over 27 miles per gallon whilst rolling down a hill, but I am. I just am, and I'm going to carry on doing it. Oh no, that car stopped ahead of me. There we go. It's done it. 28 miles per gallon. Well done, Audi. And there's a point. This is now my car. So that means that yes, me, I am allowed to give this car a name. But what should that name be? I'll come to that later on, I reckon. Oh, you know what? I might even just about get it up to 30 miles per gallon. Might just about 29.9. Will it do it before I have to stop and set off again? 29.9, 30 miles per gallon. Well done, and thank you, Johnny. And here we are at the, there we go, traffic lights. Having to stop now, and it's achieved 30.4 miles per gallon. That's not bad. How quickly will that disappear once I set off again? 29.6 drop straight down to just by setting off. It doesn't want to do 30 miles per gallon. It's not a 30 miles per gallon kind of car at all, I don't think. But there we go. Well done for what you have managed to achieve here. And for what you've managed to achieve here today. So yesterday I got to up to 30 miles per gallon at one point, and then I came to work. No, I didn't. I drove it home, and then I moved it around the yard a bit, and just doing that knocked it down to 21 miles per gallon. Doing that's not going to help. The thing is, this car isn't fast anyway, so there's little to encourage me to hoof it when not really a great deal happens. Something like 170 brake horsepower. It's not a lot for a car of this size, is it? Are you going to go around the roundabout then? Is that what you're doing? No. Why did you do that then? As I reset this from work now, and it's doing 20 miles per gallon, and I've been going at a half decent speed, I know there's no way I could live with that kind of fuel economy. No, absolutely not. The thing is, it's actually a very smooth and quiet car. The gear change is really soft. It's like it's got a rubber coating all around it. And that, I don't mean it's a rubbery feeling gearbox. I mean it's got it feels precise, but also nice and not aggressive. I'm not really explaining this very well. Welcome to things not being explained properly. I'm going to make a speciality of that. Anyway, I've yet to decide what to do about this car, because for me, not having the leather seats, that's not a problem. Not having, having a rip in the carpet, don't particularly like that. Having a couple of issues like spongy brakes and an airbag light on, I'm not really too bothered about that. Even the ABS, it's only really going to be a problem when it comes to MOT time. And that's not for another 3 months. I could end up using it, really enjoying it, then it comes to MOT and thinking, oh gosh, it needs too much work. Or I should just move it on now whilst it can still be driven around legally. And I don't know. I'm really... Oh gosh, I've caught indecision from Johnny. Wow, I didn't realise it was contagious. But Johnny's one of these people where he goes round and round in circles with his little issues and never really comes to a conclusion. And I've just realised I've caught that from this car. At least not having a turbo means that I can just switch the engine off when I stop without worrying about the turbo needing to cool down. But of course, you don't need to do that unless you're thrashing it, even with a diesel. And I'm not going to be thrashing this because it's just a bit too expensive to run. All cars that end up in my hands end up with a name. Why should this one be any different? Well, what do I call this car? Being as where this car came from and the nature of this car and the nature of the owner, I'm going to call this car Shaggy. Yeah, Shaggy. Why not? I'm naming it after the owner, the previous owner, which of course everybody knows as Johnny No Scoops, because he used to be Johnny Two Scoops. And of course, Shaggy was the person who looked after Scooby, and that's why. When this car first came to the yard, I did a test drive on it, and Johnny described it as Fred the Shed's German cousin, because it's not exactly in perfect condition. It's a bit shabby around the edges. Although, I mean, really, I'd say it's in better condition than what Fred was. Certainly, paint-wise. I don't really know what Fred was like on the roads because, well, I never drove Fred on the roads. But I'm driving this one now at 60 miles per hour, and it's quite nice. So, back into Johnny mode for the moment. Well, it does need quite a few mechanical issues sorting out. It has got a few blemishes here and there. The front wings aren't too good. The carpet, unfortunately, the carpet's been ripped up. Somebody's took a knife to the carpet in the passenger well, obviously to get to that CCM thing, the control module, where it could have got damp. Rather than just taking the seat out, rather than just removing the 4 bolts to take the seat out, whoever it was just took a Stanley knife to the carpet instead. Other than that though, the car's very likeable. Engine sounds good, gearbox doesn't make any noise. It's just such a heavy drinker. It would put Oliver Reed to shame. Oliver Reed, you might think, would be a good name for this car, but no. Every day that happens every day. Shaggy is Shaggy. Make no apologies for that. Why? It has crusty front wings. both sides, blemishes all over, and the floor mats aren't particularly nice. But here is that rip I was talking about. That's not very nice at all, is it? What a job. The wheels are dirty. In fact, the whole car is dirty, but I'm not even going to bother washing it. And nobody's going to notice any of that because they will be too distracted by the wonderful Project Nigel sticker in its correct place. And for any of my more sensitive Rover-loving viewers, a reminder, just like the other one. Aftermarket stereo doesn't seem to work, but I think that looks better anyway. There are a number of small issues to deal with on this car, some big issues, but let's not get bogged down with it now, because we're at the end of this video and I no longer want to talk about it. Well, I do, but I'm just not going to, because I need now to get on with something else, something a bit more British or Japanese. So, if I haven't already said, thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing, thank you for liking the video, thank you for being a channel member, and thanks from Shaggy, whose uncertain future in the yard will be long or short, I don't know.